So, hi, here at Box Hill still during the lockdown, but it's okay. I hope you guys are doing alright. This is something that's been on my mind for quite some time. Now, first of all, before I get into this video, I don't want to offend anyone whatsoever. It's just a personal opinion. So this is really important that I make that statement, okay? So first of all, whatever you use for your photography, your camera or your phone, and you enjoy using both or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Phones these days, over the last 7 or 8 years especially, the technology has raced on, and phones do take outstanding photos. There's no question of that, and I've seen some great photos from phones, but I have a problem using a phone for my photography. So let's get into this. First of all, let's take the phone. I'll put the camera down, pick up the phone. Then when we go out, we take the phone with us, basically because we need it. Somebody might call us, we might need to call somebody else, listen to some music, do some texting and take photos. And as I said before, it's an opinionated video only. It's just my opinion. You're comfortable using your phone for photos, brilliant, carry on. But here's where I have a slight problem with that. And here's a chance for you to test something out at home during your lockdown. And I'll be interested in the comments. When you're using a phone, you tend to use the phone. I'm going to do just a slight side view so as you can see what I mean. You hold the phone up like this to take your photo. You can hold it closer, you can hold it further away. But you're holding the phone away from your body. That's my first issue. I'm personally not comfortable with it, as many of you may be, but I'm not. The second, and this is one of the most important things of all when you're photographing a subject. When I'm looking at my phone like this, I can still see all of this around me. Even though I'm not looking at it, it's all visual. It's still within my eye. So let's say we photograph a flower or something close up or even further away. Further away, obviously, you're going to see a lot more around you as well as the subject. If you're closer to a flower, you're going to see less because you're in a smaller area. But holding a phone away from the body to actually take a photo, to me, doesn't actually feel, I'm not comfortable with it. And it's, as I say, it's further away. I'm stretching my arms out. To me, doesn't work. But as I say, if it does for you, that's great. Now, let's have a look at a camera and why I will always use a camera, no matter how good the phones are. Number one, I love the feel of a camera. I love all its controls and its buttons and its dials and the lens. Number two, even though this camera is obviously a lot heavier than the phone, it still feels a part of me when I'm holding it. I can change my lenses, I can dial in the buttons. Most of the time I don't dial most of the buttons because I shoot in aperture priority. So the camera sets its own shutter speed and takes care of itself. The grip on the camera, it's a good solid grip, but it's just the feel of the camera. Now here's the clincher. This is the thing to me that really sets it apart from a phone. I take the lens off to take a shot, and immediately as I draw the camera to my face, like so, I'm looking straight through in the viewfinder. Everything else around that area, around the outside, has disappeared. I'm simply looking at the subject that I'm going to photograph. Everything else is gone. That makes the subject more intimate. You have a more feel for the subject. You can obviously zoom the subject in, bring it closer to you, which gives you this intimacy towards your subject. But as I said again, everything else has disappeared from view. You're just looking through the viewfinder. And holding the camera under the lens, it becomes a part of me. It's close. The viewfinder, it's right against my face. Immediately, I get a feel for the subject. And I think this is actually really important. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and you can have some fun with this during this lockdown period. If you're at home, you're stuck indoors, or you've got a garden, and you have a camera that maybe you haven't used for some time, but having said that, it's still got a viewfinder. Take a photo with your phone, whatever the subject might be. It could be a vase or anything like that. It could be a flower. Take the shot with the phone and see how it comes out. Then take the same shot with your camera, bringing the viewfinder right up to your face, and take the same shot again. What do you feel when you pick up that camera and everything else is isolated? You can't see it.
Cut that.
I admit that it's a lot heavier than a phone, and it is bulky. But if you really love your photography and you find yourself getting more and more into it and you're wanting to up your game, are you going to continue using the phone, or are you going to use a camera? Again, as I said before, this is really important. It's your choice. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. But as for me, even with the technology in the phones, I'm still going to use a camera. It's a part of me. I just love the feel of the camera. I really do, compared to a phone. I'll still take the odd shot with a phone. Where I find a phone useful is if I take a quick snapshot of a landscape or something like that, I can have a quick look at the composition through there before I use the camera. But it's an experiment that you could try at home and see how you get on with it. I'll give you one more example. I do a private course in London sometimes for photographers, and this gentleman came out with me with a compact camera. Now, it didn't have a viewfinder, it had a screen on it. It had a screen on it and he wasn't happy with his photography, and he said to me, "Do you know what, Clive, as much as I like taking photos, I'm so disappointed with what I'm capturing." So I asked him why, and he said, "I don't know whether it's me, whether it's the camera." The camera was fine. I looked at the camera, there was no viewfinder on it, there was simply a screen at the back, just like there is a screen on your phone. So I suggested something to him and let him borrow my camera for a few shots. And I didn't say anything. He said, "I don't know how to use it." I said, "Don't worry, it's set on aperture priority and it's auto-focused. You just have a look at your subject and take some shots." So he looked at the subject and did a few flower shots. Well, immediately he said to me, "I'm not going to bother with this compact camera anymore. I'm going to buy a camera with a viewfinder, because even though I've taken 3 or 4 shots, I'm really happy with those." Excuse me. I'm really happy with what's happened here, because everything else around my eyes disappeared. Now, I didn't tell him that. He told me. Anyway, he brought himself a different camera with a viewfinder, and he's won a few competitions since then, because he's comfortable with the camera, comfortable with the viewfinder, and he's changed his photography completely. So I put it to you, have a bit of fun at home and try something out with your camera and the phone, and I would be very interested to see what you think. I'd also be interested in your comments, because without any comments or opinions, I don't know what you feel. But it's simply an idea, and it gives you a chance to have a bit of fun because of the fact we can't go out yet. I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, so hopefully it won't be too long. But let me know what you think of that, just as an opinion. I've been wanting to make this for quite some time. It's been something that's been sticking in my head for quite a while, and I've wanted to say it. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to the little button down on the right hand side. And I'm going to put a photo, just one photo up at the end of this, to give you a clue of what's coming up next, and it's something very, very special. So I'm sure you'll look forward to that as much as I will be filming it. In the meantime, thank you very much for viewing. Thanks a lot for subscribing. Be safe, be well, and I'm going to catch up with you again soon. Thank you, and bye-bye.